This is an official announcement from the Podcast Tonight Awards. Your favourite show that you're listening to right now has been officially nominated for a Podcast Tonight Award. But the power is in your hands. Amongst other categories, this show is in the running for the prestigious Listener's Choice Award, and they need your vote to win. You can show your support and help them get the recognition they deserve. The link to vote is in their show notes and bio. Go now and make your voice heard. This has been a message from Podcast Tonight, celebrating the best in audio.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch transportation.
It's probably the least sexy part of the work. It's okay. No. The truth is,
Today's guest is someone who knows how to take big, overwhelming learning challenges and turn them into experiences that actually make people light up. Jackie Pelegrin spent almost 20 years in higher education, earning 2 master's degrees, shaping adult learning programs, and teaching at the college level. But what really sets her apart is how she took all that experience and built a whole new path rooted in creativity, curiosity, and heart. Now she's the host of Designing with Love, a podcast where she helps educators, trainers, and instructional designers bridge the gap between what people need to learn and how they actually absorb information in the real world. Her work blends instructional design, curriculum development, and cutting-edge learning technologies, including AI, into human-centered strategies that make learning stick. If she was my teacher, I'd probably be in the principal's office too many times. Jackie's here to share that journey with us, how she transitioned from higher ed to becoming a professor, podcast host, and author of a new book inspired by one of her most popular episodes. And if you're someone who's ever wondered how to break into instructional design, whether you're earlier in your career or making a change later in life, she's got the roadmap to help you make that leap with confidence. So get ready for practical tips, fresh insights, and some real behind-the-scenes wisdom from someone who believes learning should always feel purposeful, accessible, and yes, designed with love. How you doing, Jackie?
I'm doing great, Rich. Thanks. How are you doing?
I am doing great, although it's warmer where you're at, so I don't want to discuss that part.
Right. So I'm very, very honored to be on your show. I love it. And I love the conversational nature. I think that's what makes podcasts thrive and what makes them just outlast everything. You know, it makes them evergreen. So.
Oh, yeah, it does. And that's something I tell a lot of people once they get into podcasting. It's, be yourself. It's not radio. It's not TV. You don't have restrictions. And the good part about being evergreen is 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, it's all good. Unless, of course, you're talking about events, then it's not evergreen. So,
Right.
All right. I want to talk about your journey. I mean,
yes.
two master's degrees.
Right.
Almost 20 years in higher ed, which I don't understand that because you only look like you're about 30. Now a professor.
Yes.
An authorpreneur and a podcast host.
I know. It's like, whoa, wow. I
So
think about it sometimes.
How did this whole path start for you?
Yes, it's a very interesting path because I actually thought I was going to go into marketing and do business. And I actually have my undergraduate degree in business with an emphasis in marketing. So I've always been interested in psychology, how people approach things, how people learn.
Right.
And so it was really interesting. But then that path didn't quite work out how I had hoped it would. But I always wanted my master's degree. And it's funny because I tell people this when they ask about my story and what kind of led me down that path is that I think I was about 6 years old or so. And I said to my mom, just walked up to her and I said, Mom, I want an MBA degree when I get older. She goes, do you know what that is? And I said, yes, that's a Master of Business Administration. And she's like,
How old were you at that point?
I was about 6 years old.
Wow.
I know. She's like, where did you hear that from? And I said, I don't know, but I just had this image of myself being a businesswoman carrying a briefcase and walking into an office, and I didn't quite get that either, but that's okay. But I got the master's, and just kind of thought I was going to go down that path of business, but then I started kind of going. I worked for Discover Card for a while and did marketing with them, and then I just thought, I need to break out into something else, do some different things. So I worked for University of Phoenix, and I did enrollment for them because I had gone to school, and I thought, oh, great, I can speak to this because I was a student, but
right.
That wasn't easy either. And they expect a lot of people that work in enrollment. So that didn't quite work out. So then I went into customer service, working for Vanguard, and that was stressful because of tax season and all of that. So I was like, okay, maybe I should go back to higher education. So I did that. I found a job opportunity to work in an admissions office for an online university. So called Walden University. So I took them up on that and decided to do that, and did that for a couple of years. And then they had a new program they were rolling out. And I got the email, and it was for a Master's of Science in Instructional Design and Technology. And I'm like, what's this? I've always been interested in technology, so it piqued my interest. But I'm like, what's instructional design? Didn't even know.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, what is that? So I started looking at the courses in the program, and as I looked at each course, I was like, wow. Each one just sparked my interest, and light bulb moment went off, and I was like, I think this is always what I wanted to do. I just didn't know there was a name for it. So
right.
It blends education, business together. So it basically what an instructional designer like myself does is, and it can vary industry to industry, if you're in corporate or you're higher education, K through 12, sometimes the name can be a little bit different, what it varies. But basically what we help do is we help design training programs and curriculum that help them help the learners get to what they need, and help them. If it's on the job training or something like that, we make sure that it's not just a next shiny new thing, that it actually is something that's going to give them that tool that they need to either do their job really well
right.
or move up in their job. So, and then for curriculum, what I do every day is making the curriculum the best it can be. So it's not just we're handing them a diploma, but we're handing them that future job. If they're a career changer or if they're trying to level up what they're doing, let's give them what they need so that when they graduate, they're able to step into that role and be excellent at it. So that's what I do as an instructional designer. I look for those opportunities to shape the learning in that way. So it's exciting.
In all honesty, I never heard of that job, but to me, that's a job that's always going to be around.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what's interesting, John, is that it has its roots Rich. I said John.
That's all right. My wife does that a lot. So.
Rich, oh my goodness. I think it's because I just interviewed with someone on my team named John. I don't know. That must have been what it was.
I've been called a lot worse, Jackie, so don't worry about it.
It's funny is instructional design has its roots actually in the military. So it started in the U.S. Army because they wanted to actually train the soldiers to go out on the battlefield and do it in a way that they wouldn't have to train them and then have to retrain them. So they wanted it to be meaningful. And so, that's where it all came from was during World War II. So when I learned about the history of it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I love that. So it's in a lot of these models and theories that are in instructional design and education as a whole, like Bloom's taxonomy and cognitive load theory, are all from the 1960s, 1970s, and they're evidence-based, and Oh,
wow.
So instructional design has been around for quite a while, and but a lot of people haven't really heard. If they've heard of it, they're like, I don't really understand what it is, or they haven't heard of it. And so, but once you kind of give them that overview and that history of it, then they connect the dots and they go, oh, they have that aha moment that I had where it's yeah.
Now, so for the instructional design part, do you work for a company or do you work for yourself?
So I work for a company and I provide educational services. And then what I do is I work on the curriculum for partner institutions. So one of them is Grand Canyon University here in Phoenix. And so it's one of the largest Christian universities. So what I do is we partner with the particular colleges within the university. And so I support humanities and social sciences. So I work on those different types of programs, mostly for accreditation type, which is a little bit, a little bit crazy sometimes because the accreditors, each one has their own way of doing it. And so, but it's very interesting because it's all about relationship building. So it's not just about the curriculum and putting together the curriculum, but it's also about working with subject matter experts, working with the faculty at the college, which are usually the subject matter experts, and uncovering that and asking questions, understanding what the needs are, how the industry has changed. So I don't necessarily become an expert in that area or that curriculum. I'm the expert as far as what's good curriculum, what does that look like? And then I ask them the questions to get that out of them and find out, okay, what's going to make a good program? What are the outcomes going to look like? And then when we get to the courses, then I hand it off to my curriculum developer, but I'm still there and I'm involved in the process. And I'm looking to make sure, okay, does this assignment make sense? Are the objectives clear? Do they line up together, or is there a disconnect somewhere? So that's where my brain is it's always looking at, okay, if I was taking a step back and I was looking at this from seeing it for the first time, or if I'm a learner or if I'm a faculty member trying to teach this course, would I be able to teach it? Right. And so I always change my hat and look at it from that perspective, because a lot of times subject matter experts in any industry, they know the content, they know how to do it, but when they kind of try to translate it to something that's tangible, they don't know how to do it. And they want to throw everything at the student or the learner and like, here, I'm just going to info dump on you. And I'm like, no, let's take a step back. And do they really need all of that? Or is it preference, right? Because a lot of times they'll say, oh, this is how I learned it in my program, or this is the book I like because I had this book. And I'm like, yeah, but that's 10 years old. The research has changed.
I think that's why the books for dummies are so successful, in all honesty, because they're written to where anybody can understand it, basically.
Absolutely. We break that down, right?
Yeah.
Those complex things. Yeah, make it simple. And just it's okay to dumb it down at first, Absolutely. I helped work on a programming. It was all about software programming in the College of Science. At the time, it was Science, Engineering, and Technology. Now they've split it up, so it's two separate colleges. So they have College of Natural Sciences, and then they have College of Engineering and Technology. So they have two separate. But at the time, I was working on this software engineering program, and it was a master's level program. They have a bachelor's and a master's. But what they found is that a lot of students in the master's weren't equipped to go into the master's. So they had to dumb it down. And I was like, wow, you're dumbing it down. But I understood why, because they needed to.
When I first got into the IT field and trying to learn that stuff, I was lost. I didn't know I knew how to turn a computer on, but all the lingo in the books they gave me, I didn't have a clue.
It's like a foreign language, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is once I finally learned it, and then when I'm talking to people or clients or whatever, and I'm talking to them in the terms that I didn't understand at first, and they're looking at me like I have two heads.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I got to step back because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. Because each industry has its acronyms and terms, and you have to really kind of take a step back and say, okay, if I was learning this for the first time, would I know it? Would I understand it?
I don't miss that field at all, though. But
yeah, I'm sure.
Well, so, because when you first went to school for business,
yeah.
Do you think that time? Well, actually, you say you got your degree in business as well?
Yeah, so I have an undergraduate in business with an emphasis in marketing. Then I have my MBA, just a general, Master of Business Administration. And then I went back, got my second master's. I was just going to do a certificate because they offered a certificate, but I really love the master's, and I'm glad I did that because it opened up those opportunities, because now where I'm working, they required a master's. So I was glad I took that extra time and energy to do that, and it really it's helped me with teaching too.
Well, that's how I thought. What you learned for business and even marketing, I would think would help with what you're doing now.
Absolutely, yeah,
make it a lot easier.
Absolutely, because one of the things that my students learn in these classes I'm teaching, one of them is a class I'm teaching now. It's actually ending today, the class section, but I've taught it many times, and now the curriculum has been revised. But what's really neat is they have an assignment, and it's about situational leadership. Well, that's something I learned in my business program, but they're learning how to do that and how to work with different different people that have different levels of how they approach things. And so being able to know those readiness levels, they use AI technology to, put those prompts in there, but they work with the AI to kind of imagine themselves in that situation. So I'm like, wow, this is really neat. Or objectives and key results. Those are business models, and yet we use it in instructional design. So having that dual path of the business experience and the education with the instructional design it's a great tool to have in my tool belt. So not a lot of instructional designers like myself have that dual path. So I think it's a unique type of flavor, I think, that I bring to it. So yeah.
How
really
hard is it? Because people going into college are out of high school, like 18, 19, 20, whatever.
Right.
But you also have older people like me, in their 60s, some even in their 70s, that are going back to college to learn a lot of stuff.
Right.
How hard is it? Because that's two different types of people you're really writing for, especially when it comes to AI. A lot of people are scared of AI. So how do you balance that?
That's a good question. Yeah, because we have a centralized curriculum, so we have to be able to have the curriculum go across the different types of delivery methods.
Right.
So we have to meet the on-ground students, which are, like you said, the ones right out of high school, or 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They're younger. They're usually on campus, or they're commuters, and so they're the traditional students. And then you have the non-traditional, which are the online students that are, like you said, the ones that are coming back to school, or they've been out of school for a while, and a lot of them don't know APA, and they're scared about recording a video, like what we're doing. What
is Zoom?
Exactly. Yeah. How do I do this? Or what's an infographic? How do I do that? So we have to look at that and say, how can we make it so that the students on campus can do the assignment, especially when we have those types of signature assignments where we can't, the professors on campus have that opportunity to make some changes, but the online professors don't, like myself. So we have to, but I can always enhance the curriculum, and I can help my students meet them where they're at and see where are their pain points. And so we try to make sure the curriculum is packaged so that it allows them to be able to take it and then adapt it as much as they can and enhance it. So that's what I like to be able to do. So it's true. I've had students in my classes that are older than me, and yet I have that wealth of experience. So I look at it as an instructor and a professor it's a two-way experience. So I'm not just teaching them what I've learned over the past 20 years being in higher education, and then 15 years being in instructional design, but I also look at it as I'm learning from them too, because they bring their own knowledge, their own experiences into it. So I look at it as a learning experience and a two-way street. And my students respect me more for that, and they look at me as, you're not just a professor, you're not just an authority, but you're also relational, and you're able to meet us where we're at. It's funny because a lot of my students will call me professor, or they'll call me Dr. Pelegrin. I don't have a doctorate, but yet it's the way I come across. I don't know if they just make that assumption, but or if it's just the professionalism that I bring to it. But when they submit their assignments and they'll do their cover page, and I see that so many times, Dr. Pelegrin, and I'm like, I don't have a doctorate, but okay.
I'd rather them call me professor than doctor anyways.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm like, well, I don't want to correct them. I don't want to make them feel bad about it. But yeah, it's really funny. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess I have a posthumous degree. I don't know. Yeah. But it's really funny. It's hilarious. It cracks me up when I see that. Yeah.
How much difference is it in writing the curriculum for the students that are going in school training versus the online training?
Yeah, it's definitely different because you have to account for the fact that they're learning. The traditional students are synchronous, where they're there in the and some of the work they do is online too. So it's a combination. It's blended learning. But the online students are completely online. So we rely on the instructors to be able to bring those practices. So, for example, for my students, I give them an optional Zoom meeting every week, and I let them pick what time works for them, and then I work that out. And it's optional; they don't earn participation, but it's an opportunity to connect with their classmates, connect with me, and it's a hit or miss. It's like a 50-50. Some don't fill out the survey, and I'm like, well, if they don't fill out the survey, that means they don't want it. So I leave it up to them and give them that autonomy to do that. But some of them take me up on it, and they're like, "Yeah, set this up," and then they come. So I always encourage that, and then I just try to make my materials interactive and engaging as much as I can, and try to bring that to the curriculum development process and say, how can we make this engaging so they're not just reading articles and it's not text-based, and we want to make sure it's engaging and that we're accounting for all types of learners and not just certain types. So I try to bring some of that experience to the table and bring new perspectives to those that are teaching the classes and say, have you thought of maybe this, or have you thought of that? And, presenting it in a way that it's not, discounting what their ideas are, right? But taking it so that they can kind of think of it from a different angle, and then they go, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. So I know enough about the content. I've been doing it for 12 years in this type of role, but I know enough about it so that I can ask the right questions, and I can go, oh, I see. So you want to do, in this counseling course, you want to do a treatment plan, but how can we take it to the next level? How can we make sure it's going to be something they're going to do on the job? So I know enough about the curriculum and the content that I can ask those questions. So, but not to the point where I'm so much an expert because I'm not an expert in that area. I'm not a counselor. Right. So I make sure that I always have that novice approach to it. So so it's kind of neat, but then I'm the expert in the curricular area and knowing that. So, knowing what works and what doesn't work, because I've had that experience. And if they bring an idea and I'm like, well, we've done that before, maybe we should try this approach instead, still taking their idea, but maybe giving them just another way of doing it. So,
all right, so the stuff you're designing is basically strictly for when they have a certain time frame they have to get it done. Students
Correct.
Online or in person. Have you ever designed any course? Yeah, you see a lot of, and we'll get into like podcasting here in a minute.
Right.
Because you see a lot of podcasters will offer online courses that you do at your own pace. Have you ever designed any of them? And the reason I ask is because, and I'm sure you've seen this, you'll get a ton of people who sign up for these online courses and never finish them.
Yes.
So I would think designing them, you have to keep their attention to where they want to finich it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, if you notice that someone abandons a course and they never finish it, then you're not motivating them, or there's something that they got stuck on, right? That they feel like, this is too hard. Either it's too hard. Yeah, they didn't get the help they needed. And I've had people on my podcast too before that do that course creation process, and they've talked about that too, and how it's important not to just think, oh, I'm going to make $1 million making all these courses, and then I just set it and forget it. It doesn't happen that way. You need to provide the support to them, and I've actually had people on my podcast that have businesses like that, where they provide that consulting and that coaching on how to create those courses. And I had one person on my podcast that said, they have clients like that just say, I just want to set it and forget it. And they're like, well, best practice says you don't want to do that. You want to provide them the support, and they push back on it. And I've had people push back on that too with me. And so I'm like, well, you can do that, but you're just going to have a course that's going to sit on the shelf, and it's, you're going to have, what is your success rate going to be? Your course completion rate, and
it's going to hurt your brand too.
Yeah, it's definitely, So it's interesting because I haven't actually created online courses before on platforms, but it's actually, now that I'm going to be partnering with someone that's been on my podcast several times, and we're going to be doing that. He said, here, take this course through Udemy. And I really enjoyed it because it was how to actually create courses. And I was like, ooh, this is really neat. And it gave me some ideas. And I'm like, you know what? I could actually be an instructor on Udemy and do that.
Oh.
And so I actually have several ideas for courses that I can create. And one of them is going to be about podcasting. So it's going to take time to do it. But
in other words, you're going to be starting your own business.
I think so. Yeah. So it's amazing
Thank God you got that degree in business.
Right. Exactly.
And marketing.
Right. That really helps. Yes.
All right. So I want to get into the podcast here.
Yes. The
Designing with Love.
Yes.
First thing first. Why?
The name. Yeah. The name and the why. So
no. Why did you decide? Well, yeah, I guess. Why the name, or how'd you come up with the name, but why did you decide to start a podcast?
Yeah, what's the why behind it? So that actually came from teaching the college courses. And one of the things I actually, when I went to get my second master's, it was all online. And I made a list of all the things that I wish I would have had going to school online. And so I said, if I ever became an instructor and started teaching college courses, never thought it would happen, but I said, if this is what I would want. And so one of the things I wish I would have had in an online program was that ability to be able to learn beyond the course content. So I just thought, well, what's a way I can do that for these online students to kind of, in a way, mimic what they would get in a traditional classroom where the instructor can have guest speakers come in. And I thought, well, how about a podcast? Maybe that's a good way to do it. Smart. So it just came up. And then the name, I was drafting some ideas and I thought, well, it has to have design in it, but I don't want instructional design. It has to be catchy. And
yes.
For me, it's a love of learning. It's a labor of love. So I'm like, ooh, love, that would be neat. So I just started drafting some ideas, and then Designing with Love came up, and I asked a few people, including my mom. I was like, what do you think? You like it? Is it catchy? And so I got the consensus, like, yeah, that's really good. It's catchy. It flows well. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, so that's where it all came
The
from.
other thing is, too, because if you would have just, like you said, just had like instructional design or whatever, you're only going to get people that are interested in that know what instructional design is, first of all, look at it.
Right.
Designing with Love has so many different meanings behind it. So you may get people looking at it that do home interior decorating, that do seriously.
Yeah.
But this is how you get more listeners, because if they start listening, then they may be like, oh, well, it's not about interior design or fashion design, but I can learn stuff from this. And isn't that the whole idea?
Absolutely. You hook them in and you get them interested in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, because I actually had more of like a segmented, approach to it, but now I've expanded out, and it's actually helped the show grow. And I've had more guests from Podmatch that have wanted to come on. I had someone on yesterday, and she, Charlie Leatham, and she has her own company, Ask Charlie Leatham, but she's all about technology, and she's been in it for a long time. But I approached it from the angle of educators and someone like me and everyday people. And it really worked because I'm like, how do we break it? And she's all about breaking down complex things into simple ideas. And so we connected on that way and that wavelength. And it was really great because I thought I wouldn't have considered her a year ago, but now I can look at it and go, wow, that's great. I even had someone on my podcast recently. He was outside of Podmatch, but his assistant found the podcast, and he's a a nurse, a registered nurse, and he started his own marketing business, and it's for professionals that are in nursing or hospitals and things like that.
Right.
And he helps them with their marketing. But I was like, you know what, we could again take it from that angle of marketing and being able to brand yourself. And yeah, so it opened up so many doors and so many things. I'm like, oh, this is great. As an educator, here's how we can utilize it. So yeah, so I've been really opening up my eyes to that and just going, wow, I can really, look at someone and not dismiss them right away just because they may not fit that mold of what I'm maybe looking for. But
right.
I can look at that as a different angle and go, oh, well, yeah, they can bring something new to the table and something that I may not have thought about or my listeners may not have thought about. So it really opens up that realm of that. And then I think we can be better educators and as a whole. So it's really great.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have guests all the time. You do some solo episodes as well, right?
Correct. Right. So I used to be all over the place with my podcast and how I did.
Me too when I started. So
I would do like maybe a group of 3, guest episodes, and then I'd release a couple of solos. And I felt like it just didn't have, I feel like it needed more structure for my listeners and for myself, for my own sanity, because I was starting to just become confused where I was like, wait, okay, so what should I release next? So then I took to AI and I said, okay, how should I structure my podcast? Because I do a blend of the solo and the interview episodes. So ChatGPT gave me some really good ideas, and I was like, here's how I kind of want to do it. And I'm thinking, should I do it twice a week or should I stick with once a week? And so ChatGPT gave me some really good ideas, and it said, why don't you take your even episodes, release those will be your longer episodes, your interviews, which are 30 to 45 minutes, release those on Sunday, and then take your solo episodes, which are shorter, 10 to 15 minutes, and release those on Wednesday. That's your midweek kind of shorter ones because people are in the middle of the week. And so I was like, ooh, that's really great. I love that. So thanks to AI, I was able to do that and refine it. And I even surveyed some of my listeners on LinkedIn and Buy Me a Coffee. And I said, what do you guys think? And most people had no preference. They didn't mind either way. So I'm like, okay, I'll interview them and just kind of get the pulse of what they want. And so since then, it's actually been better. And I've actually noticed more engagement, more people wanting to connect with me on LinkedIn and stuff. So yeah, so it's been really cool to actually do that. And even Rich, with releasing twice a week, the one with Charlie I recorded yesterday, that won't be released until May 17th, 2026.
Because you got a lot in the funnel.
Yeah, I got a lot in the funnel.
I'm the same way.
So what's great is that I can take a break for 2 weeks this month in December, take some time off, and the podcast can run itself without me having to really do anything, because I've got 30 something episodes all scheduled, ready to go, that are banked, that can just go on their own, All
right. So I love talking to podcasters because a lot of people want to get into podcasts and they don't realize how hard it is.
Right.
Are you doing everything yourself? The editing, transcribing, the show notes and everything?
Yeah, I'm doing it all myself. But what's really nice is that I found not only that structure, but also I keep myself organized. I utilize a system. I have a Trello board, so I keep track of it that way. Of
what?
It's called Trello. It's like an agile method where you basically have all these different lists, and then you have cards within those lists. You can assign them to people, and you can do like checklists and stuff like that. So so I have a list of all, since I'm a host and a guest, right? I have to keep track of what I have. So each one I have a template, and then I build that out, and then I have a checklist of what I need to do. So I, do all my promotional materials and all of that. I just use Canva to create those, and then utilize AI. So I actually take their biography. If they're in Podmatch, I'll utilize some of the questions they have already. But then I'll actually have AI just kind of help me refine the interview script a little bit in my introduction, so it sounds really good. And of course, I'll always edit it. I don't take what AI gives me at the first pass, but it helps because then I'm not starting from scratch. And I do that with my solo episodes too. I ask it to help me build an outline, and then I kind of polish it from there and utilize that. So it's really great. And the tools I use, like Riverside FM and Buzzsprout, have AI built in, so it kind of helps me a little bit with that editing process. And I get social posts from that and blog posts. So I find that, I don't depend upon it, but I utilize it as a jumping point.
You should, which is good. All right, so let's say a 1 hour. No, you don't do 1 hour. You said up to 45-minute episodes.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes they go an hour. Like Charlie's yesterday went almost to an hour. So sometimes they go a little bit over, but I'm okay with that. I'm
all right.
good.
So let's say a 1 hour episode. Overall, including the recording to the point to where you finished with all your marketing and show notes and editing and uploading it, how long does it take you?
Usually a day or two. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I usually try to do is I take what Riverside gives me, like with the they do magic clips. I don't really use those as much for the interview episodes, because then it gives me like 15 or 20, and I'm like, that's just too many. So I'm actually changing my approach a little bit with that. So I use the magic segments, which are usually 3 to 4 minutes long, sometimes up to 5 minutes. And I feel like those are better for marketing purposes for the YouTube channel. And I take my bonus question and I utilize that as like my teaser on social media. So I find that works really well. And then I just kind of take that and work with that, and then kind of, edit those a little bit. But I try to get those out the same day, so that way I can promote it right away. And then I edit the episode down the road a little bit. But I don't always take what AI gives me, because sometimes
you can't.
Yeah, it'll say, "Oh, take this out because it's fluff and it's extra," and I'm like, "But no, that was actually really good information." Right. So I don't always take the recommendations from what the AI tool's telling me.
AI is like, I want to say like an assistant, because it takes a while for it to learn more about you. And I'm sure you're probably already starting to see it, where it's writing everything a little bit better for you as you go along. And it's like, it's kind of scary. It's like
exactly. And I still find that I have to coach it a little bit. And massage things. The first output's not always going to be the best. It's funny because I've actually talked about this on my quite a bit on my podcast about those very things. And so it's very interesting from that education standpoint, but then the podcast standpoint too. Yeah, it's really interesting. Still keeping that human loop in it.
Those of you listening that want to get into podcasting, Jackie said something very important there about the podcasting part. She mentioned Buzzsprout. And this is something I push to people that want to get into podcasting all the time. Use a paid hosting platform.
Yes.
Like Buzzsprout, and there's some other ones out there. Buzzsprout definitely is the best. And the reason I say that is because these free ones are not free. They can throw ads in there anytime you want. And if you have sponsors like I do, the last thing a sponsor wants to hear is a commercial thrown in the middle of their ad. And that will happen. So don't use the free sources. Buzzsprout offers so much. I mean, oh my God. Now they have the transcription, the master clean, which is great. When I do the in-person ones, that master clean is a godsend.
Oh yeah. It's amazing because, and also I use Riverside, and I know what you're using is great too. I've heard a lot of great things about Squadcast.
Squadcast.
Yeah, and I think it does this too as Squadcast, and Riverside does this too, where it separates the audio. Because I've had people where I've been on their podcast as a guest, and they use Zoom, and I'm like, Zoom is not made for podcasting.
No, thank you.
It doesn't separate your audio. But it's funny because, Rich, I had someone that had issues with getting it. I couldn't hear her on my Riverside, so we had to pivot. We had to go to Zoom. Yeah. And I had to upload the audio recording. And it was good. I mean, it did a good job. But I missed that separation of being able to do that. And I didn't feel like it. It was still good. It was still a good episode. And the content was good. But it was a bummer because I was like, well, okay, we'll pivot. We'll figure it out. But I missed having all of those tools and those features in there. And I'm like, oh, this is why, Zoom is it's not made for podcasting.
It's not.
I wish I could tell people that, but I don't want to tell them what to do. But
but you're 100% right, because the bit rate is different for the sound, for the audio.
Yes.
However, I don't know if it's true or not. I thought I saw something where Zoom is going to be making some changes so it is better for podcasting.
Oh, really? Well, that's good.
I don't know. I mean, if they're not, they should. Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that use it, and you can tell if you listen to a podcast carefully, you can tell if they were using Zoom or not.
Absolutely.
And same if you watch it. If you watch one, watch it. If somebody is using Zoom to do a YouTube show, and I'm guilty of this for when I was doing my one YouTube show, you can tell if they're using Zoom because of the virtual background.
Right, exactly.
If you're using Zoom, you got to be very, very careful. The only time I use Zoom is when I'm doing my calls with kids as Santa Claus, because this way I can have my fireplace and everything in the background. That's why you see the green screen.
Right.
But I got to sit very still, because just one little move and they see that little green line.
Yep. And you're just...
Oh, yeah. But luckily, those kids really don't catch that.
They don't catch it, yeah. But you can tell. Yeah, it's like someone in the film industry, right? They can tell a show that just, say, for example, The Chosen is a good example of this, because
I love that movie, or show.
Yes, because when they first started, they, of course, crowdfunded. They didn't have the equipment, they didn't have the resources, and now they do. Right. But if you go back, and someone actually did this on YouTube, he and his wife do this. It's called The Snipe Life, but then they have The Chosen Sleuth too. But he did this, and I was like, oh, this is true with podcasting too. You look to season 1 and you see the quality of what they had, and now you look to season 5. Season 6 is coming out next year, but you look to those two, and I've done that. I've done a comparison, and I'm like, you can see just the quality of the film and the cinematography and even the costumes. It just, and the set backgrounds, everything is just so different. And so, in podcasting, you can tell quality wise.
Oh, yeah.
People's microphones. I mean, if they have a good microphone or not. Yeah.
I go back, and I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Josh Harbinger or it may have been Pat Flynn. I think it was Pat Flynn. Said never delete those old episodes. The original episodes, never delete them.
Yes.
Keep them up there, which I have. And I've gone back and listened to some of them, and I just cringe.
I do the same thing.
It's like, but the content's good.
Yes, it's evergreen content, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
But because when I first started, everything was in person in a restaurant, so I had the background noise, which I didn't mind. For coming from radio remotes, we had the background noise. I'm doing live recordings now with the background noise once a month,
right?
But just talking on it, and I could tell when you listen to it. You could tell how much editing is done, because I was taking out the ums, the ahs, and there was a lot of it. But now I don't worry about it because it's natural conversation.
Exactly.
And I think it adds to it. You could tell, like when you ask a hard question and somebody's like, oh, leave that pause in there, because you could tell they're thinking.
Right. You don't, if you take it out, it just doesn't flow well.
No. The only thing I may take out is if like somebody coughs.
Right.
Yeah, but especially if it's me. I mean, all right. So with the podcast, what's been your biggest challenge?
Oh gosh, I think for me, what's been the biggest challenges, and you probably get this too, is that people want to be on the show and they contact me. Usually it's outside of Podmatch, or their assistant contacts me and says, great, I want to be on the show and all this stuff. And I ask them to fill out my guest intake form, send me their stuff, give me some questions. And then they ghost me, or they don't, or they schedule something and then they don't show up.
Oh,
and and then I contact them and I'm like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And I don't hear from them. Sometimes it happens on Podmatch too. I mean, that's the nature of it. But yeah, it's like, respect me, respect my time. It's a mutual thing. And so if they don't show up or they ghost me, I'm just like, oh, that's one of my pet peeves. Oh, because I'm like that at work too. I don't like that at work. So I don't like it in the podcasting either. It's, that irks me.
When I first started, because I was strictly doing in person, and it got me how many, and I was only recording with local people, but how many wouldn't show up. And now I mean, a lot of those people I invited on, they never showed up, and now they'll reach out to me. It's like, yeah, sorry, it's no.
You burned your bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, and I tell this story every once in a while. So where we record at now in person, it's in a park. It's kind of secluded, and you have to drive up this long drive to get there. This is why whenever I record in person, I always try to have one of my co-hosts with me, especially when I have the beard. I think it was like 2 or 3 times. I'm standing outside by the car waiting for my guest to come up. Each time it was a woman, and they come up, they get partway up the drive, see me, and then they turn around and leave.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, of course, I call them whenever I can because you're not always getting a good signal up there.
Right.
So, yeah, was that you coming up? Well, yeah. Well, why didn't you come up? There was some homeless guy standing out there.
No. Oh, my goodness.
Like, well, first of all, it was me. I'm not homeless. But at the same time, I can understand because, now, granted, it's not nighttime. It's during the day. But asking a woman to come to a secluded area to a building, that's why now, and I always try to have one of my female co-hosts with me.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was... And even when I first started,
it didn't click at first. Yeah, you just was like, "Why is this happening?" Yeah, and,
but no, you're right. You get the ghosting a lot, and Jackie and I are bringing this up, especially for those of you that want to get into podcasting, just to let you know what you have to be ready to deal with because it's not that easy. Everybody thinks it's easy. You can just turn on your microphone, phone, or whatever, and start recording. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you don't know about. Podmatch, like I said before, is a godsend. There's any guest that I get from Podmatch that comes through Podmatch is top priority, and local people because I know them.
Right.
But and when it comes to actually, let me ask you this, because when it came to podcasting, I was listening to different podcasts to learn how to podcast. Did you do the same? And if so, who were you listening to?
It's interesting. I just dove into it and I just started doing it. Yeah. I did, kind of follow some podcasts to begin with, just to kind of get a sense of what they were doing. And one of them is someone that's actually, I always wanted her to come on my podcast. And her name is Connie Malamed. She's the e-learning coach. She has her own podcast, and she was on my podcast, and I was like, wow, if I ever could get a few people on my podcast, she would be one of them because she's well known in the field and things like that. But it was really interesting because I reached out to her on LinkedIn and I was like, hey, Connie, you want to be on my show? And she's like, yes, I'll never say no to that. And it opened up an opportunity for me to be on her Mastering Instructional Design community. Actually, next week I'm going to be doing a presentation, so it opened up that. But yeah, I did. I listened to her podcast beforehand and kind of got a sense for, okay, how should I do my intro and how should I kind of approach it? And should it be interview style or should it be conversational? How should I kind of approach it? So I was kind of at the beginning, I think I was very structured in how I did it. And I still have that structure because I think it's important not to be too loosey-goosey about it. But at the same time, I loosen myself up a little bit, and I'm not as structured in how I used to do it. And I find that the conversations are better. Yeah. And listeners appreciate that authenticity and that realism more than they don't want that structure so much of like, here's how, they don't, it's too robotic and
yes, don't use scripts or nothing. That's why I love whenever I have a guest on, or even some of my co-hosts sometimes, if we're doing it virtually, all of a sudden you'll hear the dog or the cat. It's like, I'll leave it in there, man. It just adds to it.
It does. I had a guest on and she lives in Mexico, and she, all of a sudden I could hear rumbling going on, and I'm like, is there a storm? And she's like, yeah, there's a thunderstorm coming. And I'm like, I kept it in because it was part of the conversation, but she's like, I'm sorry. I hope that doesn't ruin it. And I'm like, no, that's okay. That actually is.
As long as power doesn't go out, we're fine.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because I was like, whoa, I can actually hear the cracking and I was like, whoa, that's good. That creates authentic conversation. So yeah, it was pretty neat.
You're going to be, or you may have already done it, I'm not 100% sure, but you're going to be doing something, or you've done it, with a guest that you've had on. And I think this is great. This is something that I've been thinking about doing myself as well. And I know a lot of other podcasters have done it. You wrote a book, or you're getting ready to?
Yes.
From one of your episodes?
Yeah. So I actually got the idea from Buzzsprout because they have their monthly newsletter, and it said, ways to monetize your podcast. This came out several months ago.
Yeah.
So they had, Patreon, buy me a coffee. I tried Patreon and it didn't set up correctly. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do buy me a coffee. So that's what I ended up doing. It was so easy. And I don't have any supporters yet, just Podmatch, because they send my commission through there. So they're my one supporter right now, but that's okay. You never know.
We could fix that.
Maybe down the road. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's, and one of the things they mentioned was writing a book. And I was like, oh, I've thought about doing that down, and so I was like, how am I going to approach that though? And not make it to where, because the episodes are free, I don't have supporters right now. And I don't want people to think the book is just another version of the podcast. So what I did was one of my coworkers, who's another instructional designer, and he teaches too. And he's like, hey, why don't you do a series on all the models and theories? And I was like, ooh, you got a good idea there. I like that. So I always like kind of, asking other people, what do you think I should do on the podcast? What's the next best thing? So that way it's not just me, but it's actually, I'm bringing ideas from my students, the community. What do you want next? And so he gave me that idea. So I did a whole entire series about that. And I started off with the top 10. So I was like, oh, I could actually expand that into a book. Yeah. And so it ended up actually being 18. So it's 20 chapters. The manuscript is pretty much done. I just want to go through and read it one more time again through, but I've got all my marketing materials ready to go. I was thinking, Rich, of self-publishing, but there's so much work involved with that, with self-publishing. I know authors who have self-published, and there's a lot of legwork to that. And not that I mind doing that, but I'm like, I'm working full-time, I'm teaching, I'm doing the podcast. Well, I really have time. I have to be realistic about what I can do. So I'm like, yeah, maybe, I know first-time authors, sometimes it's a little challenging to break out into that, but I worked with AI and I said, what do I need to do this? I'm new at this. So give me some advice. And it told me, kind of gave me some advice. And I said, what are some good publishers I could reach out to and that are in my genre that would be really good? So for, something that's nonfiction, so it gave me some ideas. So I think what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I'm going to do it the end of this month, or maybe I'll wait till January or something like that, first of the year. But I'll start reaching out to publishers since I have my promotional type of materials ready to go. Yeah. So
awesome. Yeah.
So I'm hoping by spring or summer, depending upon, how the process goes. And if I get a publisher that's like, yeah, I'm in, let's talk. We're interested, and see how it goes from there. But so I'm looking forward to it, to see how it pans out. And
well, you're a lot further than I am. I started on my first one, and it's like, all right, too many people have written about that. Let me do a guide instead. Started on that. It's like, yeah, no. And then we did a podathon in September, podathon for recovery.
Oh, cool.
So what I think I'm going to do, I got to talk to my one co-host. From the stories we heard from people in recovery, I'm thinking about putting together a book, from about their stories. Change the names to protect the innocents or whatever.
There you
God, I
go.
sound like Dragnet. And then let's face it. I mean, it's hard to make a lot of money from writing books, but
Yes.
any money that I do make from it, I'll give back to that nonprofit that helps these women in recovery.
Ooh, I like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Plus I could always give them away too.
Yeah.
If I'm helping, I have no problem with that.
I look at it the same way, Yeah, I want to be able to, it's giving back to the community, and it's being able to help those that, that just don't, they don't know where to start, or they don't know how to go about it. And I'm not trying to be in competition with other books that are out there. There's a lot of great books that are used in the classes I teach and that I've read that I love and I have on my bookshelf, but I'm trying to bring it from a different lens. So hopefully, the publishers will see that, and they'll see that I have that whole ecosystem already built. So that's really great that I have that already there, and it's just building upon it. So yeah, I like that.
All right, so something very important. Tell people your website and podcast and how they can find you.
Sure. So my website is, I actually switched over. I had Webador for a while and I didn't really like it, but I know it's like, that's not really well known. So on the advice of Alex and all of his, different tools, when he recommended Podpage for the website, I switched over to that, but I wanted to keep the domain because I had already paid for the domain. So it's designingwithloveblog.com. But I have a blog, a companion blog, so it still makes sense. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if they just go to Designing with Love blog, they can find it there. I've got my videos there as well that they can connect, and they can connect with me there. And my Buy Me a Coffee, I have the widget on there, so they can go there and find me there. And I'm very active on LinkedIn. I check that every day. So if they want to connect with me there on social media, I'm there as well. So. Yeah.
I love Podpage, and I do web design, but when it came to my podcast, I was doing my own for a while and then came across Podpage. I'm like, God, this just looks so much easier. Let me do it that way. And thank God I did.
It's so nice. And what's nice is that I connected my LinkedIn. So when a new episode drops and goes live, then it puts a social post on LinkedIn for me.
I have not done that yet.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it's not really fancy, but it gives the gist of what the episode's about. Right. So yeah, so it's really nice. And then I also connected my channel, not the whole channel, but the channel for my YouTube. So all my video segments are connected automatically. I sometimes have to refresh it, but it connects that. And so I have the video page and my guest page. Yeah, it's just really, I mean, you can't beat it. For the price, it's just, it's amazing.
All right. So Jackie.
Yes.
Anything you would like to add before I get to my last question?
I don't think so. I think, we covered a wide gamut of things.
All right. So here's how this works. And I hope you don't pick a low number. Pick a number between 1 and 100.
Oh, 55.
55. Why 55? Oh,
I don't know. I thought I should do above 50 and then 5. I don't know. I just thought odd 50, 5.
I just need to get a wheel and spin it for now on because everybody's picking numbers below 20.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the same question a lot.
Oh, yeah. You want to mix it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good question. What does authenticity mean to you in a world where many people present curated versions of themselves?
Ooh, I think for me, authenticity is staying true to who you are and just not losing that. So whether it's something you love doing as a child, go back to that. That's actually, I had someone on my podcast recently about that and creativity and how we have that as a child, but then we sometimes lose that when we become an adult. So, so I think creativity and just being who you are, that's how we bring out our authentic selves. Absolutely.
I love it. Great answer. Jackie, I want to thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. The door's open anytime you want to come back.
Great. I love it. I always do that with my hosts or with my guests too. I'm like,
I don't do it with all of them. Open. Trust me.
Oh, wow. So I know I've hit the sweet spot.
I didn't do that with Alex. No, I'm joking. Alex knows the door's always open.
Yeah. When you know you've got an open door, you know you've hit the sweet spot, right?
Well, here's the thing. And I haven't done this yet. We've done virtual roundtables on mental health, I think even addiction, but I've never done one on podcasting.
Oh,
and I think that would be interesting, especially now for those of you listening. We're recording this December 3rd. It seems like January is when most people start a podcast. They want to get into it.
Like the new year, they want to do something new. Yeah, the shiny new thing. Yeah.
From the end of January to the beginning of March, they stop doing it.
Right. And Alex said that, what is it, like 94% of podcasters don't make it past.
It's less than 6% succeed.
Yeah.
It's a matter of fact, because it's funny. When I did my 750th episode, my plan was to have Alex on. So I put it in my group asking for suggestions, and I told him what I wanted to do. Well, Alex came back into the group and said, "Why don't you record a live episode, not broadcast live, but record it live with my co-host and some special guests." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I did that. So I couldn't have Alex on, but which now led us to recording once a month, doing a live recording once a month with different people. But so I had Alex on after that. But God, he opened up a can of worms with that one, because some of the questions that came up from my co-host and just the comments. Somehow or another, I got voluntold into doing a Santa Smackdown next year.
Oh, gosh.
At a dojo where they're going to be able to, thank God they're not going to be able to fight Santa with a taser knife. That somehow or another that came up. Instead, they're going to be throwing snowballs at me, which are going to be foam balls. I mean, it's going to be cool. But it's like, wait a minute.
You don't want to end up in the hospital or something.
No. And my one co-host, Joe's like, "Oh, man, it'd be cool. Come on, let the kids beat up on Santa." I was like, "I'm not Krampus."
No.
It's like, I was the whole time I was sitting there, "Thanks for this idea, Alex." But it was great. We had a blast. So
I would love to have him on mine too, because I think he could really talk about that. Just the authenticity that you talked about, and
he and to see what he has done with Podmatch and how fast it has grown,
right,
is amazing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of my listeners could benefit from it because they're educators and they could look at it from that standpoint of what he's built and the training behind it and everything. Yeah,
and the same with, who is it? I think Tom Rossi at Buzzsprout, because Buzzsprout is not that old. And the same with, I think it's Brendan from Podpage.
Oh, yeah.
The stuff they're doing for podcasters.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They're at the top. You can't beat them. So, Jackie, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Rich. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm glad we got connected through Podmatch, so we'll have to...
It's a giant network.
Keep that going, yeah. I love it.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. It takes a lot to put a podcast together. And my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club, serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown, because they're extraordinary.